this is AirFlo at Sun and Fun 2025. Early morning time. Seems a lot of people interested in this aircraft. Wow, this is absolutely sterling aircraft. Is that yours?
Yes, it is.
Oh, wow. Okay, what's your name?
Trevor.
Trevor. Okay, I'll ask Trevor, why is so special? Why attract so many people here?
Yeah, I appreciate it. I do really like this airplane. I think it's really special. So this is a Patriot Aircraft. I helped in the process as far as picking what I wanted on the airplane. The unique thing about this company is that they don't produce a lot of airplanes, but each one is custom made for the owner. And so for me, I was looking for an airplane that could kind of be the ultimate adventure airplane for what I was doing. And so there's a couple things that I wanted to have on this airplane. I wanted to keep it a really light airplane. These airplanes tend to get kind of heavy. It's not uncommon for you to see these kind of advanced Cubs weighing 1,300 pounds, even some cases 1,400 pounds. And so I wanted to keep it nice and light. So the way I tried to solve that, one is the propeller. I wanted a nice light propeller, but something that could also push a lot of power. And so for me, the carbon fiber whirlwind prop with a constant speed gave me the ability to be able to take off both in short distances, but also be able to cruise at high speed. So I generally cruise around at somewhere between 125 to 130 miles an hour, which for a Cub type airplane is pretty good. I travel a lot cross country, so just went to Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago. Now we're in Florida. I mean, the airplane kind of gets around all over the place. As far as the engine, I wanted something that was light but had high power. And for a long time, I've been really impressed with what Lycon does out of California. They take engines and they port polish, they cryogenically freeze it and get a lot of extra power out of it. And so I actually have an IO 320 engine, but it has 197 horsepower. So I get the light, economical fuel burn, but also a lot of power with it combined with the constant speed prop. And the 3-blade prop, the advantage of that is that my ground clearance is really high. So I don't have to worry as much about striking the prop if I get the tail up on initial takeoff or a landing where I'm getting on the brakes. And so kind of firewall forward, those were kind of the priorities to me, is have a lot of power, be able to take off short, be able to go fast. And while I didn't design it purposely for like a STOL competition like we have here, I have taken it into STOL competitions and it handles its own. It wasn't purposely designed for that, but I wanted to be able to go fast, get in and out of wherever I want and carry a lot of stuff, which kind of leads me to stuff in the back if you want to come take a look at that. So we can go this way. So, I've got 2 small kids and we go camping a lot and we carry a lot of stuff. And so being able to utilize this space to easily get things in and out of the airplane, I've had this completely loaded up, and obviously there's a bit of a CG things that you want to have with it. So you want to put your heavier stuff towards the forward and then your tents and pillows and lighter stuff towards the back. But filling this thing completely up and just being able to easily get everything in and out has been a huge advantage for me, and we've definitely utilized it with all the camping and exploration that
So
my boys and I have done.
slide?
Yeah, so this slides, so excuse me here, sorry about that. So this slides and then you just lock it, you just lock this in place and then you're ready to go.
Wow.
So it makes it really easy to open and close and get things in and out. So having the speed's nice, having the cargo is nice, and then I wanted something that would be really reliable so that I could beat up if I wanted to. And so we've got titanium landing gear, Acme shocks, magnesium Behringer wheels and brakes, and those allow me to kind of take the aircraft and have a lot of options when I'm in different places. The thing about airplanes is I just want options, and so like you can take this airplane, install it at 10 feet up in the ground, and it'll hit the ground and it just absorbs it. And so if I need to get into a tight sandbar or into a tight strip, I don't have to worry about being gentle with it. It can kind of absorb whatever you throw at it. Obviously, I don't do that for every landing, but you have options with it, and really strong landing gear. Everything keeping it light. So titanium landing gear, magnesium struts or magnesium wheels. These are Alaska Aero aluminum struts. And so it's a combination, everything's a trade-off of having nice things in the airplane, but also adding weight to it. And so it's always a balance. And so for me, this was the appropriate balance of having a lot of power, keeping the airplane nice and light, but having a lot of comfort features.
I saw this plane has really special painting job, and it's different colors, quite busy, but busy good. I don't know what's on the wing, like this kind of line. I'll let him to explain that.
So when I originally had this airplane, we just painted it kind of a battleship gray. And I thought that that single color would be nice, but after flying it for a while, I realized that it wasn't enough and that we wanted to do something kind of special with this airplane. So I'm not the most creative person, so what I did is I put out a request online, hey people, please submit your ideas for paint schemes. And I had several hundred submissions on different ways to paint this airplane. And one person just with the highlighters and pencil drawings drew up a sketch of this kind of concept. And we wound up going to a company called Scheme Designers. They did a great job helping us go back and forth to create a beautiful design. And then Don with Patriot Aircraft actually made it come to life. So to kind of explain what this is, for me, like I said, I spent a lot of time camping in the outdoors, flying in the backcountry, and I wanted something that represented that and represented where I live in the Northwest Arkansas and the Ozarks area. And so what we wound up doing is we wound up picking the part of the Ozarks that is my favorite place to fly, called Bird's Adventure Center. And it's right on the Mulberry River in the middle of the state forest. And you're in a valley, and there's about 8 different runways of varying lengths and challenge and difficulty levels. And you can just sit there and play all day long and really increase your skills. And so what we did is we created that on the wing. So if you look here, these lines are the topography lines of the Mulberry River. And it's symmetrical on the top and bottom of the wing. But all of these lines represent the terrain of Bird's Adventure Center. And then this blue with the pearl that you see in it, this is the Mulberry River, which is a river that I like to go run down and between the trees and have fun and play the way this airplane's supposed to play. To have this represented from kind of the top-down view, and then on the side profile view, this is the side topography of Bird's Adventure Center. And so this is coming in from what we call the restaurant strip and the terrain of the valley on either side of Bird's Adventure Center with the river that runs between it.
What's the gray part?
So this shows the elevation, right? So so when you look at a topography map, those lines tell you when the elevation goes up and goes down. And so we're in this valley in Bird's Adventure Center. And so this is kind of the northern valley, and that's the southern valley with the strip in between. And obviously flying at night with the sunsets is they're always such a gorgeous view with airplanes. And so we wind up putting 16 different colors on this airplane. It was an incredible amount of work, but what I'll say is that there's an art to doing this well, and all of these topography lines were done by hand, and they just did it. Patriot Aircraft just did an absolutely outstanding job with it, even down to the little details. So when you look at, for example, like when you look at these inspection ports here, like this inspection port, most people would just color this black, but like this is like perfectly done so that it's seamless into the design. And that's one of the things I really love about what Patriot does with their aircraft is their attention to detail on the little things are so pronounced, like they do it so much. It goes to show a lot in the overall design, if you focus on the little things with that much focus and detail, then the big things clearly like you are always are going to be taken care of. And so, yeah, I'm just super happy with this. We call this airplane the Bird because it's based off of Bird's Adventure Center, which is where this is at. And so we call this the Bird. The BYRD is the name of this airplane. And she looks good. She flies good. Honestly, I've got a couple airplanes, and this is by far my favorite one. And you can place your foot anywhere here, on here, wherever. There is a handle here. I'd recommend grabbing that. Get one foot in, then get the other foot in, and you can sit here in any of these pieces, but this will help give you a little bit of leverage.
Okay, thanks.
I like that. I like that smile. Well, and that's with the seat all the way forward as well. So I'll turn on the avionics here. So
oh, you have Garmin.
Yeah, it's a full Garmin suite.
Okay.
So we have a G5 as a backup over here on the left side. This is a Garmin G3X. This is GPS 275 and a GFC 500. The G5 is just my backup attitude indicator, and I can do several things with that are a backup in case anything happened to this. This is extremely reliable, so it's not really a factor. But what I love about this is that I have all the information I need without any additional resources. Traditionally, when I fly in general aviation, I carry an iPad and a Stratus puck, but this airplane has everything I need. So I've got my full engine display here, so anything from the engines I want there. COM, I can set this up to whatever data I want up here. Transponder, I have it turned off right now. This screen right here, if we go back, you can make this a full-size screen if you want, so you have all the data located here. On these screens over here, we have the map. We can pull up the chart to see the VFR charts, and superimposed on these charts, you have all your ADS-B traffic. So you can see where all the other traffic is, you can see their altitude, you can see their speed. We can go to a waypoint, so here we're at Lakeland, so I can figure out, okay, what's the airport elevation? What are all the frequencies? If I tap this frequency, it automatically puts it into the COM. If I want to know the details about the runway, it'll give me current crosswinds and current winds at the runway. I can pull up the weather data to see METARs and TAFs, NOTAMs. AOPA provides a lot of great information about the airport as well, as far as what's available there. And I can pull up all my charts. So this is where I can pull up all my approaches. Say I want to do the ILS runway 10. I have it there, and it superimposes my airplane over on top of it. And then this is fully coupled to the autopilot. So once you load the approach, the autopilot will fly it all the way down to the runway, which is incredible for this backcountry type airplane.
Yeah.
And I will say I've flown this. I've flown LPV's approaches down to 200 feet, and it's fully coupled. It flies it better than I can, and I consider myself a decent pilot, but it flies way better than I can. You load your flight plan there. You can see real-time weather, so you can see real-time radar. Terrain populates as well, so that you can see it actually superimposes the terrain here. So if there's mountains, it'll actually show it on your screen here, which is great when I'm flying in the Rocky Mountains and things like that. This is a large screen for traffic. You can zoom all the way down into a 1 mile scope, so you really get high fidelity on where everybody's at is around you. The video is something that you can put in if you wanted to put in a video. So this is where, like, we have a customer, Patriot has a customer where they're wanting to put a infrared camera in, and so this is where it would be depicted there. The other thing that's cool that I like about this airplane is, if you notice, there's no circuit breakers here like there are in most aircraft, because all of the circuit breakers are digital. And so we have what's called a vertical power system, a vertical power unit that actually lives right here. And so these are all of my circuit breakers, and I can see exactly how much amperage is being pulled from each one. If I want to turn it off, all I have to do is just tap that, and now I've pulled that circuit breaker. And I can see, high fidelity, what's happening with what my battery's doing, what amperage is being pulled where, and so it's just a great way to troubleshoot everything that's going on.
Include everything.
Oh, everything's right there. You can see, all your satellite data, and then all of your engine information as well. So. This has just an incredible amount of data, which is not necessary for backcountry flying, but for the stuff, I'll go into Class B airspace with this. I'll fly over mountains. I do all kinds of stuff. And so, like I said, what I wanted options, and the ability to have so many different options just helps get you out of any potential bad situation you can have. So this is called, it's an AOA indicator. So pilots generally, when they're taught, are taught, hey, this is your stall speed, and you go and you test it with no flaps. And the problem with airspeed is that airspeed is a terrible indicator of where your stall is at, because there's so many other factors that could go into play. What's the density altitude? What's your CG? How much weight do you have on the airplane? How much induced AOA do you have, right? When you pull back on the stick, you can stall the airplane at virtually any speed, as long as you're below corner velocity. That's a whole other discussion. But you can stall the airplane at almost any speed. So airspeed is a terrible indication for whether or not you're stalling the airplane. And so what this is this is a heads-up display that's a dedicated unit that's set up right here. And what it does is it tells the differential pressure, you calibrate it, and you say, hey, this is where the wing stalls. And so as I'm flying, there's little markers that will move up.
And this is kind of like a mirror. So
it's a mirror. It's a heads-up display, like military aircraft have. And so it projects the light here that goes to your eyes, so you look through it. And so and then it marks up as you get lower and lower on speed, or higher and higher on the AOA. And so when you're flying on final, you can just put it on the perfect AOA on final, and it doesn't matter what the wind gusts are doing, what your CG is, anything like that. You know exactly what your AOA is all the time. And then you know as it continues to tick up, once you get to the very top, that's when the wing is going to stall.
Okay.
And so when you're in, when I'm doing canyon turns, when I'm in really tight spaces and I'm pulling up and turning around and inducing a lot of AOA on the airplane, I'm not heads down trying to figure out what airspeed it is. I can be heads up and looking at threats, looking at what's going on, and know exactly where the status of my airplane is. Both on landing and when, say I'm climbing over a hill or trying to get over, this area and out climb it. Like, I can always know exactly where I'm at, and it's just an incredible confidence booster and safety increaser. And Alpha AOA does a great job with their products. So that's another part of it, that just its options and its overall safety. Yeah, Patriot Aircraft. So we have standard throttle set up here. We have our mixture, our prop control. We have different heating because I'll fly when it's really cold outside, so having proper heating is really nice. And then I have this alternate air system set in. I ran into a situation where I was coming in on an approach, and there was an unforecasted inversion layer, meaning that the air got colder as you went down. Yeah. And so I was at 45 degrees Celsius. It was telling me I was 45 degrees Celsius outside, but once I dropped down, it actually dropped down to about 25 degrees. And I started picking up some pretty severe icing on the airplane. And I was on the approach. I didn't have many other options. And when I landed, I had a lot of ice on the airplane. Particularly what was concerning was the air intake on the front of the airplane was almost completely iced over. And had that completely iced over, I would have had no air in the engine, and my engine could have potentially died. Yeah. So what we did is we installed this alternate air. So what it does is it's a lever that goes behind the filter, so that when I pull this, and I could even show you if you want, but there's a valve that opens behind the air filter that will actually pull air from inside the cowling, so that even if I do get it completely iced over, I have an alternate way of getting air. It's not a place that I want to put myself in, but once again, it's having options, right? Like, always having options in airplanes, and so this gives me another option. If I do get into a bad situation, I know I can always get air to the engine. So it's just, lots of things, USB ports, and a big comfortable back seat for the kids, and you can fly with the doors open and the windows open at 130 miles an hour. And that's when it's warm outside. It's always very hot flying general aviation airplanes in the middle of summer. But in this, once you get the propeller going, you get that fan cooling you off, and the doors are open, and you're looking outside in nature, and you see everything completely unencumbered by any windows or doors or anything like that. It's a really raw way to fly, and it's a lot of fun.
Wow, it's amazing. So it's all customized.
It's completely customized. Like I said, Patriot, they don't build standard airplanes, and you don't go through and pick what you want on the airplane. Like, each customer, it's a sit down. What's your mission? What do you want to do? What are you looking for? What are the components that fit best for you? What's the best on the market? And making the airplane that is the best for you.
How long is the process? Like, you tell them what do you want, then they have to plan it, right? Design it.
Correct.
That kind of design process, take how long?
So the design doesn't take long. I mean, different component, depending upon, like the turtle deck, for example, my airplane's the first one that has this opening for the storage. That took a little while to build and design, and there's a couple iterations that went through it, but honestly, it doesn't take that long. These airplanes take about 4 months to build, 3 to 4 months.
Only 4 months to build?
Yeah. Now, the biggest issue with building these airplanes is some of the supply chains. So, for example, the engine, right, it could be a 6-month wait on the engine, right? And so the build process is really dependent upon what's your timeline and what's the supply chain limitations of getting different components. But beyond that, like I said, it only takes 3 to 4 months to do. And one of the things that's kind of fun with Patriot is that they do a builder's assist program, which means that you go down to the factory and you build, and you're building with these just incredibly smart, like, competent builders, and you learn so much in the process. And then when you're done with the airplane, there's this connection that you feel to it because you built it. You know what I mean?
It's like your baby.
Exactly. Like you put it together. Now, they do a lot of the technical stuff, and they're there to watch you, and you don't build the whole thing, right? I mean, it only takes a couple of weeks, and you're doing parts here and parts there, but still you have this connection to it that you don't have if you just ride out by an airplane. And so this airplane is really meant for somebody who, one, for tall people, because we had somebody in here yesterday that was 7 foot tall. Visibility is amazing, and that's what's really fun when you're flying in the backcountry. So, but this airplane is really for people who are, who want an adventure airplane and want to customize it for what they want and get exactly what they want in an airplane, instead of just going to company and checking off, oh, this, standard color design, standard parts. Like, it truly, I mean, I'm really excited. Patriots has another customer coming up that they're doing some, I don't know if I can talk about it yet, they're doing some wild things on it that are really, really exciting because of what the customer's needs and missions are, that I'm sure they'll be talking about later. But that's what's great about it, is every airplane's unique, every airplane's custom. It's based off of a standard frame, right? I mean, there's nothing unique about the frame, but the things that go into it and how you design it is really a lot of the fun of it. The people who started Patriot have been rebuilding all fabric type airplanes for decades now, and they've won a lot of awards for the rebuilds that they've done. And they have this weird encyclopedic knowledge of every Cub, and year by year, every bolt, every rivet that was different, you know. And they realized that we know what's the failure points and the things that are a pain about all these Cubs. Why don't we design our own? And so that's why they started Patriot, was to kind of, we know how we can make a better airplane. And so so they started making their own, and so I got on kind of early. Right now, I think the wait list is still pretty low, but who knows? I would say if you're interested, get in quick, because I think that as more people find out about this, there's going to be more and more demand, and the wait list may start growing. Pointed over here, so there's some extra mounts over here. So I'm actually talking to a company right now. These are set up for floats. And so I'm working with a couple different companies trying to decide which floats I want to put on these airplanes, but that'll be the next step as this airplane continuously evolves, is getting it on floats and taking it out into the lakes and stuff like that that I have nearby. So yeah, they're all set up ready to go for floats or skis or whatever adventure you want to go on.
Did you really count how many options on your aircraft?
We could be here for like 3 hours if we wanted to go through every single detail. It was quite the process, but it wound up leading to the perfect airplane for me.
I know you are the manufacturer. Seems like your manufacturing, the system is quite different from others. Can you explain that?
Yeah, the way we do our manufacturing is definitely different. We do a builder's assist only program. We have a kit, but you come to our shop and you definitely get the 51% so that you have your repairman certificate for the airplane. But our airplane is really truly custom. Every airplane is a one of a kind, because we take the information that we receive from you and try to figure out what your desires and needs are, and we fit it into the airplane. So even the small details, we custom build the stick so that it fits you perfectly, so that when you have your hand on it, you're relaxed. You know, you're not having to push or do anything special. Same thing with the seating arrangements. We customize that as well, so that now again your sight picture over the dash is good. Whoever's in back, we want to make sure they're comfortable. Like, we even build armrests with cup holders in it. It's all the little attention to detail that we do that makes a difference in how we manufacture the airplane. So, you know, the basic airplane is the basic airplane, but again, as far as making it really comfortable for you, the pilot experience is what we're looking for, so that whoever's in the front and or in the back, whether it be a co-pilot or your wife or your girlfriend, we want to make them comfortable. Well, we even do a deal where you can put your phone down, and it's a cordless charging system where you can set your phone down or put it in a slot, so that you can charge your phone. So it's a really truly customized, one-of-a-kind airplane every time. You know, it takes a lot of time and effort to really look at the things that matter to a person. You want to make sure, again, like I said, that pilot has that really good experience, the co-pilot or passenger. But it's taken lots and lots of time, lots of years working on Super Cubs, working on J3s, PA-11s, PA-14s, Huskies. You know, we've built many of different airplanes out of kits, and so we realized some of the things that were the pitfalls that were on those other manufacturers. We've also taken the best from some of them as well. But really where the difference is that we've learned, the biggest thing we've learned is working with the customer. You never know until you sit down with somebody, figure out what their wants and needs are, so that you can come up with something that truly is special for them. It's the 1% things that makes a difference that we've learned, and how to do and how to execute those things. We've been doing restorations for about 20 years now, and we built and started Patriot Aircraft about 6 years ago with the intent of making an airplane that is a one-off airplane, not just a cookie cutter. We want to, again, make sure that experience level is as high as we can make it for them.
And how long is the process?
You know, the process is something that kind of really depends on how in depth somebody wants to get and the details they want to do. But what really happens is once we've basically ordered the base equipment, the engine, the avionics, those kind of things, once we get all the parts and pieces in hand, then we set them up on a time frame. They spend about 4 to 8 weeks with us throughout the process. They don't spend that all at one time. And then it takes probably another 8 to 10 weeks. So you're looking at somewhere between 14 to 18 weeks. Once we start the process, they have an airplane ready to fly. We work with them, scheduling the DAR, doing all the paperwork for them so that make sure that everything's done right for the FAA, which is an important thing, and it takes time. And we make sure that they've done 51% of the airplane at least, so that they qualify for the repairman certificate. But typically, depending again how much they want to do the airplane and the paint job, 14 to 18 weeks, they'll have a finished airplane once all the components do come in to the shop.
This plane is very, very beautiful and has so many colors. I wonder the painting job, how long take you to paint this plane?
All right, so you talk about the paint job on this airplane. It's the most difficult paint job that we've ever undertaken. I'm the painter, head painter at the shop, and chief bottle washer and floor sweeper as well. But the paint job was really the most difficult but most rewarding paint job we've ever done, because we've had so many compliments on it. You know, we were able to get this airplane in Sport Aviation magazine this month, so super proud of it. But the big thing is we worked with scheme designers, Tyler and them guys over there, so that we could come up with a paint job that fit the airplane, really worked with the airplane. But it's got 14 different colors on it. You can see a lot of them are right here on this rudder itself. And the transition, the gradients we call them, the transitions, just awesome. You know, they really flow really well. You know, we've had people compliment us on this, you know, off and on since we built it. But the big thing is trying to work with somebody and understanding what they see. That's the big deal. But like Trevor, Aldridge owns this airplane, and so this is based upon Bird's Adventure Center in the Ozark Mountains. And this, what you see, the blue here, is the Mulberry River. But even the color of the river was important to make sure that it stands out to you, you know? So it's kind of nice from that standpoint. But it took about 700 hours, man hours, with a lot of people working over this for about 30 days. So that's why, like I say, paint jobs, time-consuming paint jobs take time, but we can do a lot of different things, as you can see from this paint job. All right, one of the things too about this paint job, again, we talk about doing stuff that's specific for a customer. Trevor put out a deal on Facebook and Instagram. It was like a little contest to see who could come up with a paint job for this airplane. And the two ladies at the Bentonville FBO, two brilliant minds, looked at it and said, hey, let's come up with these colors. And so they come up with the basic idea. and it was really cool, really helpful. And that's what, again, it makes a lot of difference when you work with the customer to figure out what they want. And Trevor kind of worked with those local people because he lives in the Ozarks at Bentonville. And so doing something with a topographic map, doing something with Birds Adventure Center, because he spends a lot of time there, is what made it. You know, that was the inspiration behind it. And so a lot of people maybe don't know right off the bat what their inspiration is, but that's what we like to work with people. We'll sit down with them and really kind of pick their brain and help move them in the right direction. And then again, we get with scheme designers so they can be executed. Scheme designers can rotate and do this in a 3D image so that you can really see what it's going to look like before it's ever put on the airplane. All right, one of the things that's unique about our airplane too is dealing with composites, and one of the big ones is our company we deal with out of Alaska, a really great company called Carbon Concepts, and it's their carbon wing tanks. The carbon wing tanks, we're able to now take the same spot that you put 18 gallons in, now you can put 22 to 23 gallons depending on the configuration. So it really is nice having that extra fuel, but the weight savings on the components is really awesome, and it's really great working with those guys. They make some wingtips for us, they make all kind of different things, but Carbon Concepts in Alaska really love those aluminum tanks. The other company that we really enjoy working with is people, again, it's all about trying to come up with something creative that works. The other one is our TK1 Racing people, working with their new shocks they have, the Monster shocks. Really excellent guys out of California, we love those people. We also have the Acme shocks and Acme landing gear, but and the AirTech covering system, without those guys we would not get the finish that we're getting on these airplanes, and we really appreciate all our vendors.
How many Patriot aircraft are flying?
Right, so one of the things that we get asked a lot is how many airplanes do we have on the market right now. Again, we're a smaller company, we've only been in business for 6 years, but we have 6 airplanes out there. We're in the process of building one right now with a couple out of Kansas City. But here at Sun 'n Fun, we're proud to announce that we've got 2 other contracts we're working on. So we're going to be working on 2 more this year. And again, our whole goal is not to build 100 airplanes. We want to build one-off airplanes, and if we build 6 to 8 a year, that's all we want to do. So come by, check us out, patriotaircraftusa.com. Come by Bibb County Airport in Alabama. Or if you're here at Sun 'n Fun, come to the Bushwell Base Camp. We support these guys. They're really wonderful people here at Sun 'n Fun. Come by and see us.
I saw your interest in Patriot Aircraft, and you came here, you just see it today, like the first time, or you already done research?
So I've been doing research for probably over a year now about this type of aircraft. So about a month ago, I actually went to the Patriot factory, and what I learned there was that it's not a small operation, but it feels more personal. And the way they build airplanes is something I'm looking for. So it's a personal experience. This is an airplane that I'll own, for the rest of my life. I'm 60 years old now, so I've kind of decided what I want to spend the rest of my years doing, and I want something that's going to last for a long time, that's quality built, that is exactly like I want it. What I found is some of the other manufacturers, you're kind of stuck in a predetermined options for your airplane. You really can't make it purpose built for exactly what you want. So what I learned in 3 hours that I spent with Don, the owner of Patriot Aircraft, is he took me through the whole process. There's designers for color schemes, and there's nothing that you can't get in this airplane. And of course the performance of it is amazing. So it was just the right fit for me. It's just a quality product that I think that I'll be able to pass down to my kids at some point in the future.
Have you flew a Patriot plane yet?
I have not flown one yet, but I am planning a trip to Bentonville to spend probably 2 or 3 days with Trevor Aldridge in this exact airplane behind me. So this is his personal airplane. He is a former Thunderbird pilot, and very experienced, a CFI. And part of the process with Patriot too is that they're going to check you out in this airplane. They're going to make sure that they spend enough time with you to make sure that you're safe in this airplane. Even if you have tail wheel experience, I think flying this particular airplane is, it's a high performance airplane. It's purpose built. So, even though that I have been flying a J3 Cub for 30 plus years, this is different. I mean, of course, a tail airplane will have similar characteristics in the way it handles, but this is a different. It's like comparing a Volkswagen to a supercar or a high performance, vehicle. So, to me, that part of it is, it's a safety thing. So, anyways, yeah, I look forward to flying this airplane. I can't wait. I can't wait to do that, and I look forward to working with Don and his whole crew in this whole process.
Kelly, welcome you and Kim to the Patriot family, my friend, because that's what it is a family.
Thank
I think
you.
you know that already for sure. So we're going to present you guys with one of our new Patriot shirts from down here at Bushville Base Camp.
Awesome.
Got the nice Patriot on the backside of it, my brother.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Don.
You're welcome, man.
All
Thank
right.
you, brother. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.